Instead of vulnerable and orphaned children, people with disabilities, learning centers, sports development, and even old age homes, lottery money allegedly went to buying luxury cars and homes, some even shown on TV shows like Top Billing. Famed actress and Tsotsi star Terry Pheto is now implicated in National Lotteries Commission corruption, and the SIU has obtained a preservation order against her. 9 luxury properties, a BMW 420i, 2 Ocean Basket franchises, all with a combined value of 25 million rand, are now no longer hers. She, of course, has expressed shock and dismay and has denied any involvement in wrongdoing. You'll know we've spoken to ace investigative journalist Raymond Joseph and the new chair, Professor Bani Pityana, about all of this before, but it's now the special investigating unit that is on the money trail, and Kaiser Khanyago is the spokesperson who joins us now. Always a pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you for your time. Terry Pheto, of course, as we now know, is part of a long list of names, but easily the most prominent. I suppose the first question to ask you is, how is she linked to NLC money?
Good morning, Bongani, and good morning to your listeners. Her name came into the fore when we were tracing the money, and it ended up in this property that is owned by her. And then that is why her name is attached to this, because we were tracing the money that was supposed to have gone to an NPO, to other people, and then ended up being used to buy the property that she owns.
I mean, it's not just her, as I say. There's 2 lawyers, an accountant, a former National Lotteries Commissioner, a hotel group CEO, all accused of splurging with money meant for organizations in need. Just explain that money trail. How does money meant for those in need end up with these people?
Yes, we've got something called grant funding at the National Lottery Commission, where people then apply for specific things. It might have been sports facilities, it might have been children's homes, it might have been rehabilitation centers and so on. Therefore, the NPOs apply because it is meant to be applied for by the NPOs. Then these NPOs get the money. But immediately they get the money, they then transfer this money to individuals who are working with some of the people at the National Lottery Commission, who then use it for purposes of buying these franchises and houses and so on and so on. And that is how this process happens.
So these people are accused of receiving monies almost via the NPOs that applied for funding. They did not themselves apply for NLC monies.
Yes, none of those people that are there applied for the NPO money. They in this particular instance, I don't want to say it never happened because the investigations are still going on. But in this particular phase we are in, the reason why we are preserving these properties and then this vehicle and the 2 Ocean Basket is because we have made the check that says the money that was used to purchase all of them was lottery money that was not meant to be used for that purpose.
She, of course, Terry Pheto, as I said, easily the most prominent name, not the only one, to be fair to her. She's responded with shock and dismay, denied any wrongdoing, any involvement in any of this. Can someone say, I didn't know where the money came from?
I don't know about that, but the fact of the matter is she cannot be dismayed because we got into contact with her about 2 months ago. And we made her aware of this, and that cannot be, obviously she cannot say that she did not know that we are following on the property that she's staying in. And obviously I would not know whether she knew where the money was coming from. That she will have to explain, because now we've got a preservation order. We are going to, the court will give each one of them an opportunity to come and defend themselves in court before it is made the final forfeiture order.
And of course, that means the preservation order, if I understand it, that means she's locked out of those properties. She may no longer have any access to them. Am I correct?
Not necessarily. It depends on, because now they are under curatorship. The curator will then decide. But in some of the instances, they don't have to move out of the house now because it's a temporary preservation order. But the minute it becomes a forfeiture, then the house has to be taken and sold so that we recover the money.
And that's at that stage where you're no longer investigating just what was lost. You obviously want to get some of this money back.
Yes, that is one of the three things that we do, and this is the one that we have got direct control. Our job as a SIU is to make sure that we recover the money and take it back to where it's supposed to be.
The losses from the National Lotteries Commission are estimated to be in excess of R1 billion. Do you have a figure?
At the moment, we can't say we have a figure because the investigations are still continuing. But at the last count, it was more than R1 billion, and we are still continuing because this investigation might take longer. The more we find certain things, the more we get more people coming forward with more information. Therefore, it might even well be much more than that.
There's also the case of Carol Bauer, also an actress and businesswoman. She reportedly received R7 million of NLC funds through a company, of course. But when investigative journalist Raymond Joseph asked questions, no one could explain what that money was for. Are you looking into that one?
Yeah, we are looking. I don't want to be specific with her. We are looking into many more. All I can say to you is more is still to come. And a lot of people will see when that happens, because we are always afraid of talking about investigations that have not reached a conclusion, because there are trends that happen in any investigation, and we don't want to be putting things out there at the stage. But once the outcomes, as you always know, we will make sure that the public knows. But
in a sense, all of this is the tip of the iceberg, isn't it?
All I can say is watch this space.
And so some of these NPOs are not legitimately in this space. They're not legitimately serving people who are in need. Some of these were created specifically to apply for funding so that it could then be dispersed amongst the connected who are all part of the scheme.
Well, definitely. Some of them were created for that purpose. Some of them were in existence. They were hijacked and their bank accounts were changed, so that the certain people can access the money when it gets into that NPO, and so on and so on. There are many different ways of dealing with that.
And of course, none of this would have happened without collusion from inside the NLC.
No, definitely. Most of this are done because of the officials of the NLC that were involved in some of this, if not all of them.
Gosh, staggering there. Special Investigating Unit spokesperson, as always, we appreciate your time, Kaiser Khanyago.
Current events, developing stories,
tough questions,
your voice making a difference.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa.